Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. I thought that I would introduce today's video rather than James for a change. So we woke up this morning and the temperature has plummeted. There's a heavy frost on the ground. We've come out now though, but it's lovely and sunny, and we're in the Meadows, which is a lovely park just south of the castle, and you can see Arthur's Seat in the background. But we had to certainly wrap ourselves up. I've got my hat on, I've got my scarf on, I've got my gloves on.
We're going to take a little walk into Edinburgh today to see a few of the sites and to see the National Gallery, and in particular the downstairs section, which has had a lot of renovation on it recently. Well, it took about 3 years or 4 years to sort it out. And they house the Scottish collection of art, which is really lovely. 1 or 2 pictures in there which are great. One of the reasons I like going into art galleries is to get ideas and to look at other people's techniques, see how they painted it, and see what how it can affect my own art.
So I just thought that we would have a little stop here and have a look at Greyfriars Kirk, which is, if you know the story of Greyfriars Bobby, he's got a little grave up here, so let's go and have a look at that first. So here's one statue that's been put up of Bobby. And people leave sticks for him. So he's jumping around in doggy heaven, chasing his sticks.
I always enjoy coming to Greyfriars Kirk. There's something about it that I like. The views are great of the castle, but also the views of the church are really nice too. I think I like painting here because it's quite private too. You're not on the streets of Edinburgh, and so it just feels a little bit more secure. And I like looking at the castle there. The castle's view from that point there is fantastic. There's a lot of history to Greyfriars Kirk as well. J.K. Rowling came into the graveyard when she was writing her books and looked at the gravestones and got quite a few of the characters from her books from the graveyard. So it's always quite interesting to find those graves. So here's the original statue of Bobby. When we arrived in Edinburgh, the nose was black, the same colour as the rest of him, but now it's gone bright golden colour. The reason is that people rub it now in the belief that they're going to get some good luck, but I'm not sure that's true. We walk along now to the Elephant House, and this is where J.K. Rowling wrote much of the original Harry Potter book, and it recently burnt down, a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. The smell is gone now, but it took a long time for the smell of fire to disappear. Up now to the Royal Mile, and here's the Bank of Scotland, one of my favourite buildings with its copper roof and its green colour, really lovely. And then we look west, which goes up to the castle. Can't quite see the castle, but it's just behind there. And then looking east the other way to St Giles Cathedral. It's a really great looking cathedral, really solid and heavy. I love the look of that cathedral. And then we go down the mound, heading north down to the National Gallery, and it really is a wonderful building. It's my favourite building by a country mile. There's so many wonderful things in there. I really enjoy going down these steps, which are called Playfair steps, and they were closed as well when the gallery was being remodelled, and I never thought I'd miss a set of steps more than this steps. It was wonderful to be able to climb the steps and take that shortcut from Princess Street. So here's Waverley Station, a really great view of Waverley Station. I love that view, I never tire of it. And you've got Balmoral Hotel there as well. As it's Christmas, we're having the Christmas fair coming up, and you've got the big wheel and the I don't know what you call that thing is, but it looks terrifying. I wouldn't want to go in it. And it really does attract a lot of people here, and it's a lot of fun for the people of Edinburgh and the visitors.
We've come down the stairs and we've arrived here right at the base of the mound, and Waverley Station, train station, just behind us, or in front of us here. And behind us is the National Gallery, or the new extension of the National Gallery, which houses the Scottish collection, which is really great. It's a wonderful collection and lots to see. The only missing element of it, I think, is Joan Erdley, the wonderful painter, Scottish painter, although she was born in Sussex. She's not in there. and she's a fantastic painter, and she really should have been in there, in my opinion. So this is one of my favourite paintings in the gallery, and it's by Anne Redpath, and I think it's her best painting. It's the one I enjoy the most, and I think it's the red slippers. I think it's something about that, but the way it's painted. She was a terrific oil painter. She had a wonderful style where it wasn't really detailed, which is how I like it. It was a very simple picture, and it was quite rough. She used a technique where the paint would dry and then she'd scrape it off and then she'd paint more and just keep on going in that way. And she had a wonderful effect in it. And the frame in this painting is also worth noting. It's absolutely stunning. I've seen a few of Anne Redpath's paintings and they're all framed beautifully, like this one. I'd love to have a frame as nice as that. So here's another Anne Redpath painting, another great painting, and it's still life with a couple of flowers, I think they're daffodils, and incredibly inspiring painting. It makes me want to do a still life, and I will do a still life soon in oil, and I think it's great. So many of her paintings of still lifes are something I really want on my wall.
Here's a painting by Sir John Lavery. It's of Loch Katrine, and in the front of it is his wife, who was also an artist, and I think that really adds something to the painting. Lavery was a really interesting painter. He painted some wonderful paintings of North Berwick and the golf course there, but in his later life he moved to California and he became a portrait painter, painting many of the film stars, in particular Johnny Weissmuller, who was famous for playing the part of Tarzan, and Shirley Temple too. So he was really popular, and I've got a lot of respect for John Lavery. The other interesting part, he also taught as well, and he was Sir Winston Churchill's teacher. And I thought that was a really interesting connection there too. And I enjoy Winston Churchill's paintings. I think they're great too, particularly his ones of Marrakesh. This is a really large painting by a chap called Sir William MacTaggart, and he was a Victorian painter and a wonderful painter, a very sketchy painter. This is about 6 foot wide, I'd say, so really good size. And it sort of shows the story of fishermen, really, coming in from a big storm. And I can imagine the little boys watching the boats coming in and hoping their dad's still alive and hasn't succumbed to the sea. So a lot of emotion in this painting, and the figures add to it too and tell that story. I love a story in a painting, and it gives me something extra to think about, which is fun too. And lots of figures everywhere, and the rushing sea is so wonderfully depicted. Painting by James Patterson is really great, and I've come to the gallery many times specifically to look at this painting. There's something about it. I think it's the colours of it which are so nice, and the elevated position looking down onto the river. Really great. Maybe it might need a figure. I don't know. Maybe that would improve it, but I'm not complaining at all. It really is super.
Here's a fantastic painting by MacTaggart, and I always loved his paintings because of the little people he put into them. Every time he did a painting, he put a little group of children in or something. This one's huge, and wonderful Scottish seascape. Here's a much smaller painting of another Scottish seascape. MacTaggart was a wonderful painter in oils. He was a little bit like Constable, I think. Very expressive oil paint, very brushy. He didn't finish things off, which is like my watercolour painting. It's not perfect, but his representation is perfect, even though there's no detail. And the children here are even more like not described and more rough.
I had a postcard of this painting many years ago before I moved to Edinburgh, and I always thought how fantastic it was, the wildness of the seascape, and the colours were so interesting. This painting now is also by MacTaggart, as it was the last one, and it represents a sort of summer scene. And I've looked at it for many hours, this painting, and studied it intensely. And the style is very much in the Constable manner, with its flowery paintwork and lack of detail. It took me a long time to see the figures in the foreground. Again, one of MacTaggart's great storytelling features. Imagining the crop coming in and everyone harvesting the wheat. Really lovely painting, and I get a real thrill every time I see it.
Here's a painting that I really love by Ferguson, one of the colourists, Scottish colourists, and he was very keen on painting women, portraits of women. He did some very good portraits, which I absolutely love. He does inspire me to do more portraits in watercolour and oil. I hope you enjoyed that little trip around the Scottish Gallery and the new extension. It was a wonderful place, and I go in there quite regularly really to get ideas and to work out the direction that I like. And what I've really been inspired by were those figures in the landscape, and it's something that I'd want to do more and more of. I think it tells a story, and it makes it more human in a way than just the landscape. So figures in landscapes I'm really interested in at the moment. Hopefully, I need to get some models to do that. It's getting a bit cold though. That's the only problem about painting figures in landscapes now. So I'm sort of wanting the summer to come along again, which is bad really, because you don't really want that to happen. You want to enjoy the winter too. It's really getting cold now. It's freezing outside. It's going to be an absolutely freezing night tonight, so I think we'll wrap it up now. I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of a different programme. I thought having a look at paintings is such an interesting thing, and I never tire of it. Everywhere I go, every place I go, I try and find galleries to look at, and it's amazing how they are inspiring and how they take you into different directions. And that's what's important. It makes you think differently. And the one thing that's inspired me about this gallery at the moment is William McTaggart's paintings and his placing of figures in the landscape, which I think is so interesting. When you place a figure into landscape, it just makes it interesting somehow. It's sort of more lively. It's got the human element, which I enjoy. So I'm going to take that inspiration into my own painting and try and introduce some figures. So I'm really quite excited about that. So I hope you enjoyed all that, and thank you very much for the people who bought me a coffee. That's very kind of you. A few of you are very generous, so it's much appreciated. It does help with our diesel costs. And until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.